Hey, how's it hanging?
Take a closer look at those billboards. The numbers represent that the Marvel Cinematic Universe phases 1 through 3 are now complete. Marvel Studios is excited to show you what comes next.
You're gonna love this.
These villains that we now have in our universe happen to be characters that are in the Sinister Six. There may be something that happens with that.
No matter where he goes, the world is going to be different for him.
Here's the real blockbuster. Brace yourselves, you might want to sit down.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
What the f?
No more hiding. Yeah, no more hiding.
One of, I think, our great hopes for future films is other articulations of Venom.
As fans of the comics will know, Carnage is the bond between Cletus Cassidy, a serial killer, and the Red Symbiote. And so this movie will introduce Cletus Cassidy.
Hi, Eddie.
Carnage is the promise of the Venom character taken to the next level. So, you know, going into Venom, you were hoping that there'd be Carnage. And they delivered in a very delightful way that made you go, all right, I'll give you more of my money if you do this again.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. We have a whole bunch of new Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six and Venom to talk about. We got a clip of Amy Pascal talking about their plans for Sinister Six movie. I think we all assumed it was going to happen, so we'll break that down. And because of all the news of Spider-Man coming back into the MCU, we got official details from Sony and Marvel on how they plan on connecting the universes because, as Kevin Feige said, Spider-Man the only character that can jump between cinematic universes. They actually do have a plan for connecting the Venom movies and those spin-offs to the Spider-Man MCU movies, but it gets really technical with the way they describe it, so I'll talk about that later in the video. We're doing a giveaway for the Spider-Man Far From Home Blu-ray. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best theory about Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six and Venom on the video. So during the Spider-Man Far From Home bonus features, there's a scene of Amy Pascal talking about the Sinister Six movie within the Spider-Man Marvel movies they've done so far. And her very direct quote is, "There may be something that happens with that." Meaning, of course, something is going to happen with the Sinister Six, because she wouldn't say that in an edited segment for the bonus features if they didn't plan on doing it at some point. This isn't commentary on the movie, this is them doing a special featurette talking about the future of Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Previously, I think that everyone just assumed from the villains that they've been using in that Spider-Man Homecoming post-credit scene with the Scorpion talking about teaming up to kill Spider-Man that we'd see an MCU version of Sinister Six that would be different from Sony's take on those characters during the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man movies. Then you have the Venom crew talking about all the different versions of Venom that they plan on doing now that Sony has officially confirmed Tom Holland's Spider-Man Venom crossover. Obviously that gets into Spider-Man wearing the symbiote in the Maximum Carnage movie with Spider-Man and Venom teaming up against Carnage. But Amy Pascal even suggests that Mysterio isn't dead at the end of the movie. She kind of hints at that, but part of their reason for being so ambiguous about it was to give themselves an out in case Jake Gyllenhaal can't come back for another movie for their big Sinister Six team-up, or they just straight up decide to not use Mysterio, but I don't know why they wouldn't. Everybody loved Jake Gyllenhaal so much, and he was fantastic as that character. Why wouldn't you bring him back for a big team-up? But given all the issues that Marvel and Sony have had since the summer, it's funny to think that this was Marvel's plan and Sony's plan all along for these characters to build up to a new Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six movie. The new sharing contract that Marvel just signed with Sony is only for 2 more movies though. It's Spider-Man 3, which they're starting pre-production on really soon and shooting later in 2020. Then Marvel gets to use Spider-Man in one other Marvel Phase 4 movie or one of the Disney Plus series. I assume it will be a movie. They would want to go with the biggest possible audience. Normally I would say that second movie they would put him in would be Avengers 5, but because Spider-Man 3 is coming out July 2021 and Avengers 5 isn't coming out till 2023 at the earliest, that other Spider-Man crossover might happen in one of the other big Marvel Phase 4 movies like Thor 4, maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe Moon Knight, or even Black Panther 2. The way Kevin Feige spoke about Marvel Phase 4 at the Comic-Con panel made it sound like it would be a little bit shorter in duration than previous phases. In Marvel Phase 5 would be the big dawn of mutants, X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four characters in the MCU. It would be kind of weird for Marvel to wait for their second Spider-Man appearance to that Marvel Phase 5 starting in 2023 or whichever year they officially want to begin Marvel Phase 5. The reason why I say Avengers 5 probably isn't going to happen until 2023 is because they already gave Black Panther 2 that plush May release date in 2022, and all their Avengers movies have been that late April, early May releases. 2023 is just the next May that's available after Black Panther 2, and 2023 is the current year in the MCU post-Avengers Endgame. But here's another sweet detail that we got because of all the Marvel-Sony fighting last month, is that Sony secretly had plans for 2 more Tom Holland Spider-Man films. They didn't say what that 4th one was. Spider-Man 3, the way the director was talking about it before their big breakup, would just be a Craven movie. He's an OG Sinister Six character, and with him, that makes 6 characters who have been members of the Sinister Six team at various points, so they have their team up after Spider-Man 3. Their original plan might have just been to use Spider-Man 4 as Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six, but there's no date on that movie yet. We only know Spider-Man 3 is coming out 2021. But that would mean that if Kevin Feige and Marvel wants to make that Sinister Six film in the MCU, they need to sign a new sharing arrangement after Spider-Man 3 and whatever that other Spider-Man crossover film winds up being inside the MCU. Otherwise, Sinister Six would just be a pure Sony movie in, say, like 2023, 2 years after Spider-Man 3. But where is the Venom crossover in this timeline? Venom 2 scheduled to come out next October. They're shooting it in November right now. They'll do their Carnage film. Here's the not-so-secret details on how Marvel and Sony intend on connecting the MCU with the Venomverse movies. It's not quite as complicated as it sounds, but it does get a little technical. They're referring to it as a call-and-answer relationship where, in the future, beyond Spider-Man 3, when Spider-Man has already crossed over with Venom, they've started to do their Sinister Six movie, and Spider-Man has already done stuff inside the Venomverse movies, that when he comes back into a Marvel movie, they will loosely reference the events of what happened in the plot of those Venom movies, and Sony will do the same thing for all the MCU Spider-Man films. So Spider-Man has this great history in the Marvel films going back to Captain America Civil War. They'll loosely refer to plot points from all those movies: Tony Stark, the glasses that he gave him, what happened with Mysterio when he crosses over with Venom inside the Venom movies. I know this raises a lot of questions about them canonizing Venom within the MCU, but the way they talk about it makes it sound like it'll be an Easter egg relationship only, so it will explain how Spider-Man and Venom can team up inside New York City, and it can still be the version of New York City that we see during Spider-Man Far From Home, but you don't have a bunch of Avengers flying around asking about this Venom and Carnage character. It can just be a Spider-Man adventure where they loosely reference stuff from the Avengers movies, but it's not them saying that Venom is going to show up in Avengers 5 or anything like that. That would be them officially canonizing Venom to the MCU. The reason why New York City is so important is because it seems like they're filming Venom 2 to look like it's happening in New York City. In the Morbius movie, which is kind of a spin-off of Venom right now, is also supposed to take place in New York City. So Sony really wants its Venomverse to take place in and around where Spider-Man would normally be. So hopefully that explains a little bit more about how they're planning on handling Venom inside the MCU. As of right now, the Sinister Six characters they have are Scorpion and Vulture, who are still in prison per that post-credit scene. The Shocker was also arrested after Spider-Man defeated him during Spider-Man Homecoming at the dance, so even though it wasn't shown in the post-credit scene, he's in jail too. Mysterio is currently chilling on the DL, believed to be dead, temporarily, and Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler, uncle to Miles Morales in the MCU, is still free and clear running around New York City and Queens. You also probably heard the news recently about how Tom Holland is being credited with helping them close the new deal for bringing Spider-Man back into the MCU. Obviously, he didn't do it all by himself, but there was a funny clip a little while ago with the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, talking about Tom Holland. He even makes fun of him just a little bit.
And he said something on stage, and it was clear that the fans wanted Tom back as Spider-Man.
Yes, it was.
Made by Marvel and our Marvel production team.
Right.
And after D23, Tom reached out to folks who work for me, said, could I please have Bob's email address or phone number? Of course, I'm very protected, so they were very careful. And I said, sure, have him contact me. And he did. We spoke, and he basically he cried on the phone.
Did he really?
No, not really.
Oh.
But it was clear that he cared so much. And actually, we care a lot about him. He's a great Spider-Man, isn't he?
He's the best Spider-Man.
And I felt for him, and it was clear that the fans wanted all this to happen. So after I got off the phone with him, I made a couple of phone calls to our team at Disney Studios, and then I decided to call the head of Sony. And I said, we got to figure out a way to get this done for Tom and for the fans.
Like two divorced parents.
And we did.
Coming together and figuring it out.
That's just him acknowledging the fact that a lot of the money people at both of these companies stopped thinking about the actual people that were involved in this deal and how it would hurt the fans. Tom Holland's phone call just reminded him of that. But if you have any big questions about what's going on with Venom Spider-Man Crossover or Venom in the MCU, just post it on the video below, and all your theories about when they're going to finally do their Sinister Six movie that they keep hyping up so much. Thank you very much, Amy Pascal.
Happen to be characters that are in the Sinister Six. There may be something that happens with that.
Congratulations, Roberto Matos. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel Deadpool video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Everybody click here for that new Deadpool 3 Robot Chicken teaser trailer, and click here for that brand new Avengers Infinity Saga trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.